Welcome back to Midnight Auto, brought to you in prime time today. I just want to give you guys an update on the electric truck and with the focus on the Prius electric power assist steering. So first thing, we once again have ourselves a roller, and let me tell you, it's a great feeling to be able to move this thing around the garage at least. So yeah, I got that on there, and you can see the front end is reassembled. This is what I call wax on, wax off, and just constantly putting pieces on and removing them. But what I want to show you today is the Prius power steering. I figured, what the hell, I'm going to remove some of this stuff on camera and just kind of talk you through it, what I'm doing. As you can see, there are some gizmos right here. These are just in mock-up formation. So this part here is what is called a DC-DC converter. It acts as an alternator on a electric vehicle. This particular unit, I believe, is off of a Tesla Model S. It's liquid cooled, and it connects to your high voltage battery and takes the high voltage of, let's say, 360 volts and converts it down to about 13 volts, 12 volts to charge your regular car battery. And that's what this thick wire is for. This will go to the positive, and then these grounds just go to the chassis ground. Anyway, we'll get to that in another video. Okay, another thing that I have on here is one of the 6 battery modules that are going to go on top here. So this one here I will remove, and you can see how it's going to go on and come off, and hopefully it's not going to make me look foolish coming off. Smooth like butter. Yeah, all this stuff here is just kind of laying in place. It's not bolted down. And that's on purpose, just to kind of have it, to see what kind of interference I would get with the power steering, which is what we're trying to get to. All right, so with the power steering motor, electric motor, installed in place, and this is in here solid, I am really pleased with the way it turned out. With it in place, I want to show you how to connect it and what it takes, okay? This is not all that you need. This is sort of the muscle of the operation. What you need is the brain. And so when buying one of these, I strongly advise, if you see it on eBay, is that it has the brain module here. I don't know what this is, some sort of an ECM, what have you. EPS maybe. Electronic power steering module or something like that. Make sure it comes with it, because you're going to get nickel and dimed when you're trying to piece this together. And also, you got to make sure that it's the right box for the right motor, okay? And there are 2 pieces of wire harness that come off of this motor. I would make sure they come with the plugs and that they're not just cut. And they will plug in here. I'm trying to see how this is keyed. Yeah, this is keyed. So although there are 2 similar connectors here, this one will not plug in to that one. It is keyed so that it only goes on this side, which is pretty cool. And then there is another harness here. These fat wires give power to the motor, and that's what makes it spin. And I believe this here is a sensor that senses perhaps if we're turning the wheel or how fast we're turning the wheel. And then this one also plugs in here only into one place. So that connects the motor to the brain, if you will, to the module here. But then you also need a wiring harness from here that will connect it to the battery. The nice thing about this unit is that it works in what is called a fail-safe mode. And what that means is that it always works the same way. It always provides the same amount of power assist. So it's almost 9 p.m. and it's still almost 80 degrees here in Northern California. I waited till it cools off to make this video. That's one reason why I didn't shoot a video while I was building this with a friend. He helped me out. The last thing I wanted to do is slow our progress down because it was so hot that day. I kid you not, it was like 106 degrees. Of course, it's hotter in the garage. So I didn't shoot a video. I will disassemble this tonight to show you how it all goes together because I want to take it apart and powder coat a few things. All right, we have the motor connected to the brain, but again, that's only half the battle. If you watch my prior videos, you know that I go out and always buy the proper harness, the factory harness, wiring harness if I can find it. I did the same thing here. Now, it's not really this intimidating. I went a little bit overboard and I pulled the entire thing, and it taught me that it actually taps into the radiator fans on the Prius. So I just grabbed the whole thing. I believe this black thing here will hold a couple relays. So this is sort of my stock relay holder, and I will probably use the one for the power steering, obviously, but the one that went to the electric fans, or the other two, I may borrow these slots and plug in the Tesla electric brake booster and maybe the horn or some other relay that needs a plug. Okay, so we have a small wiring harness. Let's plug that in. And off of this small one, all we really need is a thin black wire that is our ignition on. So that will go to the regular car battery positive. The other 4 wires that run off of it, is it 3 or 4 wires, those are just grounds, additional grounds. Then we have this big old mess here, and really what we're getting off of this is a nice plug, 2 white thick cables, wires. One is white with a black stripe, and the other one is just, I believe, solid white. So the white with a black stripe actually has a ground clip on it, if you will. So that's going to attach to the chassis, and the solid white will go to a fuse, and then I have a temporary fuse here to the battery positive. This is a 40 amp fuse. I think this is all I had. I'm not exactly sure. I apologize. I forget what the factory fuse is. I knew that at one time. I'm going to have to look it up again, but I just forgot. So we plug that in. Now, to wire this up, the really nice thing is that this is super quiet. When you wire it up, you will hear just a small click and then nothing after that. But there's a big difference in the way the truck steers. All right, so I want to give you a demo of turning the wheels. The vehicle is sitting on the ground under its own weight. There are no batteries in here, so obviously that's like 300 pounds of batteries that are missing, and probably other equipment like the inverter. But even with that, I'll show you how hard it is to turn the wheel right now. So this is me doing it one-handed. I'm going to put the wheel chuck in the back. All right, so I can't do it with one finger. I just can't. I can't sort of do it one-handed, but well, you know how it is when you have manual steering. It's obviously easier when a vehicle is rolling, but forget about going through a drive-through. I've had a truck similar to this one, V8, manual power steering. Whew, I'm winded already. I did that, you know, because I wanted that extra 20 horsepower, which is complete nonsense. It wasn't worth it, and no way does it give you 20 horsepower. So it was a nightmare going through drive-thrus. So power steering is the way to go on these heavy trucks. So let's go ahead and hook it up to the battery, and I'll show you how easy it turns. All right, so hopefully you guys can see this, and don't worry about all these other wires here tucked away. All we really need is the big fat wire coming down. That's our positive. So that is going to be connected to my positive on the battery. And then we have all these other wires here, and the white and black, big white and black, that's our negative. So I'm just going to group these together. And this video is not, you know, how to hook this up, because there are plenty of videos on the internet that do a better job of explaining this. I'm just quickly doing this to show you how much easier it's going to turn. And then now there's permanent power going to the motor, but the controller, if you will, is not turned on. So now we just take that black wire from the control box, and we're going to connect it to our positive. Hopefully that's not going to touch anything. That's pretty hokey. I'm not very happy with that. Okay, I didn't hear a click this time, so let me see if it's actually on. Nope. All right, let's try this again. I think I blew a fuse. I had a 2 amp fuse in here. There, I'm not sure if you heard that, but it clicked. So let me point the camera at the steering wheel, and let's see if it's any easier to turn. All right, so it appears to be turned on. My laptop's making more noise than this thing. I'm telling you, this thing makes no noise whatsoever. So I don't know if you can see this one finger. And that's edge to edge with one finger and back. Now this GM steering box is a manual steering box, and it's, I think, like 5 1/4 turns edge to edge. So it's slow, but that's deliberate to make it easier to do manual steering. And yeah, I hooked up this Prius electric power steering motor to a manual steering box, just so you know, to make it even easier to steer. Because if you ever had your belt brake on a GM power steering box, it's really hard to steer. You can still steer, but it's really difficult. And a manual steering box isn't just the same thing as a power steering box that's not hooked up with a belt to the power steering pump. It's completely geared differently. It's usually a smaller box and has different gears in it. All right, so I'm going to disconnect the brain from this motor, and I'm going to take the inner fender off, and I'm going to kind of walk you through some of the challenges we've had with this installation. All right, so I made 2 videos, and I was showing you on camera how I was planning on making this bracket here, and there was this wide plate, maybe 6 inches wide, coming straight up. Now, it did clear the Tesla brake booster here, but when we wanted to put the inner fender on, we realized that that plate would interfere with the motor because the motor has to be almost at 12 o'clock position to clear the inner fender. We also ended up reclocking this motor on the actual gearbox here. So it pays to put it all together. It's a big pain in the butt, but my advice to you guys mocking these projects up or building these projects is to always mock it up as much as you can, and you will put things on and take them off, put them on and take them off, and that's just how it goes. All right, it's time to moan and groan on camera and see if I can get this inner fender off. Yeah, this is pretty much where you see all your hard work of painting and powder coating go to wayside, go down the toilet, but I'll do some touch-ups. Big inner fender here. This guy had to be massaged to clear that Prius power steering motor and gear section. Not much, just a bit. Okay, so I wanted you to have this angle straight at it, and I'm going to turn the wheel with just manual power right now, hydraulics, so you can see how this looks as it turns. Pretty much we just grafted this in right there to the original, inside the original intermediate shaft. So what we have here is down to here and up. All of this is stock, 100% stock GM steering column, and down from here, from what is called a rag joint down, is a stock steering box. So only the intermediate shaft was sacrificed or altered. All right, so here we go. All right, now keep in mind that this is still very much in mock-up, okay? We haven't done even a first test drive with it. No alignment has been done, so obviously I need to redo camber, caster, and most importantly, toe in and toe out and all that good stuff. I will probably replace the rack joint with a brand new one, and this has to be rebuilt, the guts of this one as well. They just call that the I don't know, like the intermediate shaft joint or intermediate shaft upper union or something like that. This is super sturdy. I'm very happy with the way that turned out. Okay, so I'm going to use the phone camera here and get you closer and show you how this is bolted up. So this bracket is fugly, okay? It is not going to win any beauty pageants. In the front here, we have two bolts, original bolts holding it to the bracket, and then it's sandwiched in here with a rear bracket with only one bolt on it right here. That's also a stock hole and a stock location. So I'm going to undo those and remove it. Then up here, this just slips in, okay? This will come out of here. And on the bottom, it's held onto the rack joint with the stock GM screws. So I'll undo those and I'll show you how this whole assembly comes out. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do is loosen up the rack joint. Hopefully you can see this. And again, I think this stuff was just finger tight. Perfect. Okay, and there. That's how we do it at Good Enough Garage. Quick release, by the way, quick release. Okay, now let's do those. I think these are 10 mil, and I'm looking foolish. Okay, they're probably not 10 mil, something like 12. My favorite part of these conversions is solidly mixing metric and standard. It's just such a joy reaching for the wrong tool all the time. All right. Yeah, guys, I'm sorry, but I'm sweating like a pig. It is probably 9 p.m. already. It's after 9, and it's probably high 70s in here. Whew, it's hot. All right, let's see. Yep, that one's 10 millimeter. So I had a great new friend of mine for the truck forum help me with this. No way I could have done this by myself. You need 5 or 6 arms. Patrick and I had 4, and we somehow managed. But you really need someone holding this for you and all that kind of stuff. So as you can see, this already popped out of the rack joint, right? And then here, it slips out. And there we have it. Now, I don't know if I can remove this with the inner fender on, but I don't care. I'm happy with this, okay? I mean, guys, you know, how often do you pop out your power steering pump, right? So if I have to take out off the inner fender to get to it, so be it. So yeah, this little part here, like just this part, is stock Chevy, and then all of this is Toyota Prius, and we just welded on. We drilled this, pressed this piece in, and welded it on there. On this side, a similar thing where this part is, maybe this last 2 inches is part of Chevy, and it's also grafted onto this remaining piece, which is Toyota. And then this is how this joint works. This gets greased. Think of this piece like a greasable, serviceable U-joint. Okay, so that's that. Now, let me show you the ugly bracket. All right, guys, let me bring you in for, as Damien says, piece de resistance. So this is the bracket, and it is ugly as hell, okay? I'm kind of proud of it, but also ashamed at the same time. Now, it's totally functional, and it honestly has to look as funky as this. Now, I have a new friend on the truck forum who is going to be doing a Blazer, I think, and I wonder if, because his is a 4x4, this may be mounted differently. But I think he's an engineer, and I'm just dying to see how he designs this. I'm sure it's going to look amazing, and it's going to make me look like a total fool. Now, there are some extra holes in here, speed holes, that because we reused recycled old metal, these will just get filled in. There's this piece here that's going to get filled in. A lot of these horrible welds will get ground and so on. And this piece, I'll round the corners, try to do as much as I can so that the SEMA judges don't deduct too many points for this. But it's, you know, it's functioning. It's utilizing the two, I call them upper control arm bracket bolts, but they're really the upper cross member bolts. Anyway, I'm going to remove these two, pull this off, and show you this piece in the wild. Alright, so this is one of the few things on the truck that use an 11/16 wrench on. These trucks, you can put one together and disassemble it 91% using a 9/16 size wrench, but there are few places where you need a different size wrench, and this happens to be one of them. So let me see how many knuckles I can destroy doing this on camera. Of course, we did this 95 times while building it. You do gain an appreciation for factory engineers and the constraints they face and how they have to design things. And next time you're, cussing at them for having to remove a rear driver's side wheel to replace an oil filter or something like that, something that ridiculous. Just realize the constraints they have to deal with. And, I learned that doing this. So yes, it's just held on with 2 bolts. I'm not sure I'll be able to get it off. Yeah, I think I need to back out. I think I need to back out these bolts to get them out because of the shims here. But we knew about that going in. So if I can move these shims to the side, that will work. Otherwise, for now, I have to back off those bolts. I'm not sure if I can. Okay, so I just freed up one. Not sure if that's enough. Probably isn't, so let me see if I can do this other one. It's a pain in the ass for sure. All right, and it's free. Yeah, it's a real pain in the butt, but it's out. You know, this is what it looks like. Horrible, I know, but strong. I'll clean it up as much as I can. It's going to be sitting in there, and you know, because if I hadn't made this detailed video, you guys wouldn't even know how ugly it is. But you know, it is what it is. It works. This is 3/16, so it's thicker than 1/8 for sure. So I'm pleased with that. It is strong. Okay. So anyway, that's the bracket. This may be as far as I go in this video. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Man, I don't want to do the brakes. They won't even know. If I don't tell them, they won't even know I didn't do the stupid brakes tonight. Man, why is it so freaking hot? So hot.